Hey guys, it's Rob from Gumption Garage, and today we're changing the rear sprocket on my Go Kart. Now, we got all the things we need. We got a brand new, nice and shiny rear sprocket here. This is 60 tooth, and it's gonna fit the number 40 chain that I got. As well, we also have our sprocket hub. That's gonna attach the sprocket, make it fit real nice. Besides that, we got all our tools, so let's get into it. Right before we start, I just wanted to quick go over gear ratios with you guys. Right now, I got a 72 tooth sprocket on my Go Kart and a 10 tooth clutch. What this is doing is this is giving me a 7.2 gear ratio. This is a little too tall for me right now. I'm not getting as much top end speed as I want. So what I'm doing is I'm changing down to a 60 tooth. This is gonna give me a gear ratio of 6. I might not have as much speed off the line, but it's going to give me a lot of top-end speed when I get up there. Alright guys, so the first step to putting on a new sprocket is to first remove the chain. So to do this, you're going to want to find your master link. This is mine. You're going to notice because there's going to be a clip on the outside. Now, unfortunately, my clip actually broke, so I'm going to be replacing this towards the end of the video, but to get it off, usually you could just bend this back and pull it out. Now, to remove the master clip, we're going to pull out this outside part. Once you get that, you're going to see you have the rest, and you can just knock it through nice and easily. That's all it is. So now that we've got the chain off, we can go ahead and remove the tire. To take off the tire, first we're going to need to remove the coulter pin here. To do that, we could just bend the end of it down here. Once we get that bent, we could go ahead and pull it out like that. Once you have the pin out, you could just grab a wrench and loosen this bolt up. And then we should be able to undo it by hand the rest of the way. Once we get that bolt off, we should be able to just go ahead and pull the tire off. Now that we've got the wheel off, all that's left to do is loosen the bolts holding the sprocket down and pull that baby off. I've already taken the liberty of loosening up those bolts, so all that I gotta do is just pull it off. To get our sprocket and our hub together, what you're going to want to do is take your sprocket, your hub, and line up the holes. Once we get those lined up, grab your bolts and just start popping them in. Now we can torque those down and get it going. Now the bolts that I'm using to tighten this down have a special serrated edge so that it's going to grip on the metal and not come loose. When torquing this down, you can use some vice grips on one side to get a hold and use a socket wrench on the other to really tighten it down as much as you can. Really get that tight. You don't want it to slip while you're going karting. Alright, now that we got it all tightened in there, it's time to put it on and get it all changed up. To get our new sprocket in, the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the keyway. Now sometimes these can be pretty rusted in there, so you might want to use something like a WD-40 to get it loose. Luckily, mine comes out. I got a real nice long one. Next, you can take your sprocket, push it on, make sure you get it real far in there, and try to get it lined up so that it matches your clutch. Now for me, I might need to push this in a little bit more, but that's pretty close. Next thing you want to do, make sure your keyway's lined up. Push it back through. To help line your sprocket up, you can do a little trick and take your chain and put it on the clutch and the sprocket and make sure it lines up straight down the middle there. And you can see I got this on square, and now I can tighten up these little things in here and get this screwed on real nice. Alright guys, now with those torqued down, all that's left to do is put my chain back on, put my tire back on, and we can go shredding. So guys, one thing you're going to run into when you're changing your sprocket from a higher gear to a lower gear is that you're going to have way too much chain. So how do you fix this? Well, there's two different things you can do. You can either cut the chain down the length you need, or we can take the engine, and you see I still have a little bit of space to move it back on the plate. So first we're going to try that, see if I can get it tight enough, but by the looks of it, we might have to cut the chain. So first I'm going to be trying to move the motor back on the mount to see if I can get the chain to fit. To do that though, I got to loosen the bolts holding it down. The hardest thing though is getting them loose. Mine are really tight, and if you have a really tough one like I do, a little trick for you guys is to get yourself a nice big pipe like this and slip it on the handle where you have your socket wrench. That way you get a lot more torque and you can get those nuts off. Now with the engine loose, what I'll do is I'll move it back and put the chain on. Alright guys, now check it out. Unfortunately, when I put the chain back on, it looks like we're still just a few lengths too long. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this off, cut it down somehow, and fit it to size. Hey guys, so unfortunately I'm all out of time for today. I got everything all set up to cut the chain and put it back on, and I realized I had dinner so I had to leave. When I came back, it was much too late to finish it up. But we got a lot done today. We got the sprocket attached, all lined up. It's on there nice and beautifully. Tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I cut the chain nice and easy using common tools that you guys can use at home. We're going to put the tire back on, get it back on all together, set up, and this thing will be done.